So we're out here, our little 12 by 12 house, guys, and we're getting ready to lay out our first wall, or the front wall of our house. And the front wall of our house is gonna have a 3068 door in it. So how do we go about that? Well, the first step is we're gonna snap a line in from the outside of our frame here in 4 inches. And when we do that, we're gonna need our speed square to get our marks perfect, right? We want the outside of our walls to be 12 feet by 12 feet. So if we've done things like this where our sheathing isn't quite flush with the frame, now is a good time to correct that. So how I would do this in the real world is I would take a speed square and my tape measure at the same time, and I'm gonna mark 4 inches in. All right, so we already have a line here that's not quite right. So I'm gonna show you how to do it correctly. You're gonna take your speed square like this. You're gonna take your tape measure, put your speed square up here so it's as accurate as it possibly can be off the frame in case you didn't cut the sheathing or the subfloor correct. Now I'm gonna put a giant crow's foot here, all right? Now I often work by myself, so I'm gonna snap my own line here, and here's how I'll do it. I'm gonna take a screw or a nail or whatever I have, and I'm gonna put it on my crow's foot, and I'm gonna hook my chalk line on so I can snap the line by myself. All right, until I flip my chalk line upside down like this, hook it on my screw. I got my screw at an angle so it doesn't slide up and down when I'm pulling on it. I hold my line out like this so the chalk doesn't fall where I want it to be, in my way. Everything's particular, guys, right? When you practice this a lot. Now we're gonna do the same thing over here. We're gonna mark 4 inches up off our speed square so that we get it as accurate as we possibly can right from the get-go. All right, so boom, boom, another crow's foot here. Now I can snap my line. Once I have my line snapped, we put X's where the wall is gonna go. All right, on an outside wall like this, it's obvious, but on an inside wall, it's not always obvious where the wall is gonna be. So we mark with an X where the wall is actually gonna be. So this is our front wall of our house. Now after we get it marked where we're gonna put it, we have to go cut what we call a top and bottom plate of our wall. And when we're picking out plates, we wanna get the straightest lumber out of our pile, all right? And we're gonna sight it. This has a bow in it, which I can fix. When I put the studs to it, it'll tighten the bow. But the crown is what I'm looking for. If it goes up like this, I wanna put the crown up. And I'm gonna put it right where I'm gonna build it so I don't get myself confused. So this is one plate, and now this is gonna be the second plate. This is the top and bottom of our wall. Now we're gonna go ahead and lay it out so that we can separate it and build it. All right, so this is how we always build our walls. We lay out our plates, we spread them apart, then we build it. Okay, so today all we're gonna learn about is how to do the layout mark. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put a 36-inch door right here in the middle of our house. So it's pretty self-explanatory. We have to find the middle of our house first, right? And we know that our boards are 12 feet long. If we measure the overall width, it's 12 feet. So 12 divided by 2 is gonna be 6. So I'm gonna come over here, I'm gonna mark a 6. I'm gonna take my speed square, I'm gonna mark a C here for center so I don't get myself confused. All right, that's the center of my wall, and it's also the center of my door. Now I told you earlier before we started making the video that the door we're installing here is gonna be what they refer to as a 3.0, a front entry door, a 3.0 6/8 door. So that means that the door itself is 36 inches wide, but we have to add for the door jambs on each side, plus a little gap for it to slide in and get shimmed. So typically on a rough opening, what I do is I add 2.5 inches to the actual door size. So the door size is 36. I'm gonna add 1, 2.5, or 38.5 is gonna be my rough opening. All right, so now I have to take 38.5 and divide it by 2. 38.5 divided by 2 is gonna be 19.25. So I'm gonna come over here, I'm gonna take my tape measure, put it on 19.25, is how I do it. I take the end of my tape, I mark it like so. I come over here, I put a little mark, I flip it around, I do 19 1/4 over here. And then I double check to see if my math is right before I put big giant ugly marks on here. All right, and it is, my math is correct, 38 1/2. Now if I want to really double check, I can also measure from the end. I've got 52 5/8 to that mark. Over here I've got, hopefully, the same, and I do, 52 5/8. So I've got my door right in the middle, really important. I've got my marks. All right, from the center over, 19 1/4. From the center over, 19 1/4. Now I'm gonna need a framing square. Can you grab me a framing square there? All right, cool. Now I'm gonna need a framing square. You can use other squares, but the framing square, again, is gonna be super helpful for this because the tongue of our square is the same width as or thickness as our 2x4s that we're using. So again, from the center, 19 1/4 this direction, 19 1/4 this direction. I'm going to put my framing square on the mark like so. I'm going to mark a J, J, K, K. From here, I'm going to measure over 19 1/4, put my framing square over again. I'm going to mark J, J, K, K. And what those marks indicate is this is a jack stud, this is a jack stud, this is going to be a king stud and a king stud. So we're going to study that in a little bit. All right, but that's how you would properly lay out the rough opening for a 3068 door. All right, now we're not quite finished yet. We have to go lay out our layout marks here for our outside corner. So we're using 2x4s, and it's going to be intersected here with another set of wall right here. So what we're going to do is on the end of our plate, we're going to mark X, B, X, 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 B, B. B stands for block, X stands for stud, okay? Common stud. All right, so X, B, X. I'm gonna go down here, I'm gonna do the same thing. And this is gonna, when we build it, it'll make more sense to you. But for now, I'm gonna do the same thing on the other end. I'm gonna do an X, B, X. Put it flush with the end, mark it, slide it over, X, X, B, B, X, X. All right, so now I've got my door in the middle of the house. I got an outside corner marked where it's gonna get intersected with the other wall. The last thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lay out my on-center spacing. In our little house, we're gonna do our spacing 2 feet on center to save on some studs, and we're just getting the idea. So I'm gonna hook on the end here. To do 2 feet on center, I'm gonna go to the 2 feet. I'm not using the red 16-inch center marks this time. I'm gonna use 2 feet on center. I'm gonna go to 24 inches, subtract 3/4 of an inch, and put my X like so. I'm gonna go down to the next one, 48, 47 1/4, just like that. 6 feet is the next one, right here, fall back. This I marked CX because it's in my door. That's where a cripple stud is gonna be. And I'm gonna come down here to my 8-foot mark. Right there, I'm gonna come back to my 10-foot, subtract 3/4. And that's all I have in this wall. Now I'm gonna come back with my framing square and square back all my marks and make it really easy for my whole crew to understand what we're building here. Any carpenter that's trained can look at these layout marks and knows exactly how to build this wall. You don't even have to ask any questions. Like if my foreman laid this out and I was working with him, as soon as he was done laying out, we wouldn't even have to talk. I would just look at this, I would know exactly what to build, right? And that takes some practice, right? Like you're gonna have to study a little bit, learn the terms, and learn how to lay this out. So that wall is done being laid out. So let's review. Again, we found the center of our wall. From the center of our wall, that was also in this case, the center of our rough opening. From there, we measured over 19 1/4, Jack King. From here, 19 1/4, Jack King. We went to the ends of our wall. We did XBX, XBX, then we laid out our 2 feet on center spacing. All right, now we're ready to start building this wall. All right, that's good.